Hello and welcome again. It's Matt here from Christopher Shaw. As you're probably well aware by now, I'm here with my colleague James Tiller, and this is just a very, very quick catch-up video with you since our last one at the end of last week, as we are really now back in the kind of post-release or post-lockdown of the business, and thought we'd give you a very quick update this week in particular to property management, which is my colleague James's forte, being head of operations, which does encompass property management as one of those things. We thought we would get James to come on and have a quick chat as to how things are operating currently, and what the current landscape is while we are still phasing back into working in the office. Normal. As you can see, we're still operating from home. So James, over to you if you wanted to kind of give us a quick update.
Yeah, sure. Well, in short, not a great amount has changed in terms of the property management aspect since being locked down. We were still able to carry out emergency maintenance anyway, and that's sort of been the case now. I think we're starting to see now more contractors, more trades coming back to work. Although I think obviously they're taking caution, but depending on their own industry bodies and their own guidance and what they're being doing. But much of that is related to what the government have been saying anyway. Things that we still have got to maintain under normal standards and things are things like safety certificates. That hadn't changed even throughout lockdown. We still had to make sure that we were being compliant with things like gas safety certificates. Obviously, we've got the electrical safety regulations coming in from the 1st of July. So any new tenancies after the 1st of July, so we're going to be coming into that window very soon, are going to need electrical safety condition reports completed and recommendations upgraded before a tenancy can start. So that's something really important to bear in mind at the moment. But obviously now more than ever has reinforced the need to keep records of when people go into properties. For example, the software we use for maintenance reporting asks tenants to declare their sort of whether they've been affected by the virus in any way, whether they've had symptoms, whether they've been self-isolated, whether they've been in contact with anybody. So we've got records of those, because obviously we're then passing that work and that information onto a contractor who then has to take out their own risk assessment and decide whether they will be able to do the work based on the information they've got. And so that's very much still down to them, but we're starting to, as I said earlier, we're starting to see some of them start coming back to work now. But obviously we've got to take particular care now with either vulnerable or extremely vulnerable people, tenants.
Yeah. I was going to say, James, just leading on from that, is it's a question that's coming up more and more, and this also relates to my department and obviously viewings, is if someone's in the property, and obviously based on what we've already heard ourselves from Arla and from government sources, if someone's in the property and something needs to be done and they are not happy with someone coming into the property, where does that leave a landlord currently?
Well, that's what I was saying. You need to keep your records. So if people are saying they're not prepared to let people in, I've had an instance like that this week with someone. Gas engineer was trying to book in a gas safety certificate, and the tenant said, "I'm working from home at the moment. The boiler's in the place where I work. I can't leave where I am." And the plumber said, "Well, what do I do?" I said, "Well, we've got to make sure that we keep a record of that, so that if ever we had to prove that we weren't able to do it at that particular time, then we've got those records." And that's really important at the moment. Something which is something which I think we're going to get used to, because it's one of those new normal things now. In the past, it was never really a problem. But now it's certainly. Well, I say it wasn't a problem. It was. You still had to make sure that you were keeping accurate records. But now, more than ever, you've really got to make sure that we're holding on to those and keeping them in case we ever need them in the future.
Yeah, in particular if obviously you're not able to gain access for any reason.
I mean, clearly as well, when you're going into properties, when contractors and trades are going into properties, the expectation for them is to maintain social distancing, maintain all the government advice and all that kind of stuff. And whether that's a tenant going into another room or what have you, that's all part of it as well. But obviously that's down to them to do. We can provide them so much information, and they've obviously got to make their own judgments on that as well. But all of those type of things are all go without saying now in this new normal world that we live in. What was before isn't the same now, and we had to take a bit more caution in everything that we do. Something else that's come up or came up last week is the government suggested that we are now able to do property inspections as we were previously. Again, same rules apply. Normal 24 hours notice, except for now we're going to have to make sure that we're wearing PPE or cleaning down any surfaces that we might be touching, all that kind of stuff. And again, it's going to come down to each individual scenario. Is the tenant vulnerable? Are they extremely vulnerable?
Do we have their consent as well?
Exactly, yeah. And if it's the case that they are one of those two categories, then clearly that's not something which we're able to do. But that's why, again, keep the records, keep everything tidy, and then you'll know where you stand with everything. But yeah, the onus is definitely on just everybody just making sure that you follow the appropriate government guidelines. That's wiping down when you leave the property, disinfecting hands, you keep maintaining social distance, all that kind of stuff. None of that's any different to what we'll be doing in our everyday lives now. So it's just that it's amplified a little bit when you're going into people's homes. So that's really where we are with property management at the moment. Not a lot has changed, but at the same time, we've just got to take a bit more care with what we do.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, James. Hopefully a hopeful update, and we'll hopefully look to bring some more videos soon that have some nuts and bolts and some interesting stuff to it. But this is very much just a quick touch base to let you know we're still here, we're still safe and alive. I have actually bumped into a couple of landlords, which was actually really nice to actually see people. And I saw you, James, for the first time the other day in about 7 weeks. So you look much better in person. But it was nice to see. So
yeah, I think really in all of this, we've got a bit more freedom now as an industry, and as we said last week, it's important that we don't waste the opportunity, and that we do, make sure that we are doing everything we should be. And so our office is now fully marked out with social distancing areas, desks and things like that are all separated, as much as we can do in our office space. But so it was nice to see Matt. It was nice to see Lauren and everybody else that we're, but it's we're still, I'd say, in the main working from home, but at least have the flexibility to go to the office as and when we need to.
Absolutely. So yeah, everyone stay safe, and we'll give you another update, I'm sure, over the next week. And in the meantime, try and enjoy the bank holiday weekend. It's hopefully going to be a scorcher.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot.
Take care, guys. Bye bye.